You guys have been transitioning to mostly a man coverage team this season after playing primarily a lot of zone under Jim for the last 4 years. You didn't have OTAs or preseason games to kind of help you make this transition. Uh, has it been kind of like learning on the run as far as adjusting to things like rub routes and some of the stuff you're seeing that maybe you didn't see as much when you guys were playing zones?
You saying me individually or us
No,
as collective?
the entire secondary, as far as getting used to playing a lot of man coverage.
Um, I think when it comes down to it, you got a group of veteran guys, regardless of OTAs or not. Our secondary, besides every now and then Kayvon getting in, we got veteran guys. You know what I'm saying? You got guys who come from man backgrounds. When you're talking about Roby, they played a little man over there when he was with the Rams, and then Slay. Then of course myself, with Swartz sprinkling it in, every now and then throughout my 4 going on 5 years here. I think that just, that's an easy adjustment. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping your eyes on your guy. Trying to, pre-snap, identify, how teams are attacking us, like you said, because certain calls we are in man.
Go ahead, Tim, and then Dave.
Hey, Jalen, you had mentioned that Travis Fulgham had caught your eye during practice before he kind of busted onto the scene here. What did you see, and did you kind of become a champion for him?
Yeah, definitely. From his first weekend coming into camp, I literally would sit on the sideline. I didn't even know he had came from Detroit until I was just talking to Slay one day, and I was just like, bro, this number 13. I think at time in practice he may have been like number 6 or something like that. But I was like, this dude right here, he always catches the ball, and every time he catches it, he's off the ground. Whether it's digs, whether it's out routes, whether it was go balls, he's jumping, he's catching it at the highest point. And I just always say that's hard to cover, as a guy in the secondary, a guy who's always high pointing the ball, because you see a lot of times with receivers, out routes and go balls, they're just catching them in the pocket. But when you got a guy who's jumping up to get the ball, that's another element that you have to know that you have to cover. So definitely the guy I've been pulling for since he got here during camp.
Dave, and then Mark.
Jalen, you guys are going to see Lamar Jackson this weekend.
Mm.
How tough is that, obviously, first off? And then going back to those joint practices a year ago, is there anything from those that you guys can kind of use this week?
Definitely, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to know in those joint practices, they're going to keep it vanilla as possible. They're going to run, their base plays. And those are some of the things that, maybe watching, we can get a clue on. Or when we were practicing, we had a clue on, within those 2-3 days we were practicing with those guys. But also, with this Baltimore team and Lamar Jackson, we know everything starts and finishes with him. So I think the biggest thing is trying to contain him the best way as possible.
Dave, and then Martin.
Wait, Dave just went, right?
Sorry, go ahead, Martin.
Hey, Jalen, how's it going?
Good.
So, are you pretty much used to moving back to cornerback now that, you've done it the last 2 games and everything?
Yeah, the juices are definitely coming back. The muscle memory is definitely coming back. Something that, I told you I always pride myself on, trying to be, a complete defensive back, being able to play all positions across the board, at a drop of a dime. But, definitely muscle memory definitely coming back for sure.
Les, and then Zach.
Hey, Goblin. Third down Sunday seemed to be such a problem. And a lot of times it wasn't third and short. It was third and long. What was going on? And also, following up on what Damo asked about the man defense, it just seems like rub routes seem to work a lot against you guys. Is there a trick to figuring that out?
Yeah. When you talk about a third down, we're a team, who not only, prides ourselves, in the red zone, but we also pride ourselves on winning third down situations. And, when you're going into third down, you also have to win first and second down. It's a lot harder to stop a team, when it is third and short, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, but then you go into the conversation like you just said, third and long. Those are opportunities where, our pass rush can, they can get as loose as possible, and us as a secondary and a back end, you know, we have to be able to, if not, you know, knock the ball down when the pass is thrown to us, make that quarterback, you know, get one pump or maybe two pumps to where that defensive line can get to him. So I think that's one of the biggest things, you know, we as a defense, you know, we weren't really good at during this game when we were in those third and longer down situations to get off the field. And then when you talk about the rub routes, yeah, you know, like I said, you watch on film, you know, you see teams, you know, when they see we are in man and they maybe start want to run rub routes now. You know, we got to know teams are going to start attacking us like that. And, you know, when we get that opportunity, knowing that teams know we're in man, you know, maybe switch up our disguise or, you know, switch up leverage in different guys. You know, maybe, you know, the corner is not always, you know, playing off or playing press. Maybe the inside guy, you know, play up or on the snap, you know, drop back. Just show different looks so, you know, it's not just plain and simple for a quarterback. And then you go to a guy like Big Ben. He's a veteran guy, so he's seen every look. So especially going against a guy like that.
Go ahead, Zach, and then Dan.
Hey, Jalen, a trend that we've seen in these past 4 games or so are the wide receivers getting carries against you guys. There's been 3 touchdowns that way. Why do you think teams are doing this, and what's it going to take to fix it or to stop it, rather?
Yeah, I think one of the things with that is our front 7. You know, they are doing a really, really good job as far as, you know, stopping the run when it's just a regular running back running power or stretch or whatever it may be. So teams are getting creative with, you know, doing the handoffs and the reverses and different things like that, jet sweeps. We just got to ID that. You know, that's most of the time it's a certain guy, you know, going into a film. We know, okay, this is the guy who, you know, he's most elusive when he's out in the field, and this is a guy we've seen on film, you know, repetitively, you know, doing the jet sweeps and the jet motions and different things like that. Just IDing those guys right before, you know, they get in the huddle. And when we get out in the huddle, pre-snap, saying, okay, this guy now he is in a position to where he can, you know, jet across the field, or he maybe can take a handoff, just so it just slows everybody's mind and bodies down to kind of anticipate those things happening.
Dan, Bo, and then John.
Hey, Jalen, the Ravens seem to be putting up the points this year, but, you know, it hasn't looked as easy as it did last year when they were a bit more of a juggernaut. I mean, are teams adjusting to that offense that was so good last year? I mean, how are teams playing them differently this year than you might have seen in the past?
Yeah, like I said a little earlier, I was like, it starts and it finishes with Lamar Jackson. I think you got to try to contain him as much as possible. And when you do that, you know, it kind of slows down, you know, what they want. Because I think one of the things that Baltimore has done really, really well is they made that offense about Lamar. You know, they didn't try to put him into an offense to where it didn't fit the type of player he was. And I mean, that's a good thing for them. But as far as, you know, opposing defense, I think the biggest thing, like I said, is it starts and it finishes with him. And you just got to try to contain him as much as possible.
We actually have to get him to a meeting, so we'll wrap it up with Bo here.
Hey, Jalen, quickly, how would you compare the skill sets of Marcus Epps and Kayvon Wallace? We've seen them both playing. What do they each bring to the table?
Yeah, you got Kayvon, who's more of a, you know, a thumper, you know what I'm saying, thumper guy. And then I think when you go with Epps, he's a guy who can, you know, play the middle of the field. And then, you know, on certain formations, if you have to, you can put him in a box and have him try to check the run for sure. But that'll be my 2 comparisons between those 2 guys.
Hey, Greg. The Eagles the city of Philadelphia is expected to make a decision this week about fans. What would it mean for you guys to finally have some of the Eagles faithful at the link on Sunday?
It would mean so much to us. Definitely, it'll mean a lot to them. We love our fans, and definitely praying that they let fans come in the stands. Definitely going to need them. Been wanting fans in the stands for a while, so if we get that chance, we're all going to be excited.
We'll go Paul and then Ed.
Yeah, Greg, you've got a win over Lamar, that 2016 game against Louisville. I was wondering if you have many memories about that game. And also, if you'd been a couple years younger and come into this league after Lamar, you think teams would have been more receptive to the idea of you being a quarterback, playing quarterback?
Who knows? Maybe so. I don't know, but I definitely have a lot of memories about that game. Me and my brother actually that plays for Baltimore, Tyus Bowser. We was on the Houston team that played against Lamar. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of memories. And I every time I see him, just like whenever we had the scrimmage, I had talked to him about it. You know, just messing with him about the game. And just as far as playing quarterback, I don't know. You know,
Are you surprised by his success?
no, dude's a baller. He's a dog. Always had that underdog mentality. He's going out there and proving himself.
Eden and John.
Hey, Greg. The city has approved 7,500 fans. That includes coaches and stuff. So it looks like it'll be the same number that will be there on Sundays that you played in front of in Pittsburgh. How big did you hear those fans in Pittsburgh? I mean, how loud were those 5,500 in Pittsburgh? And what was it like to be in front of fans again?
They were pretty loud, but you know, while I'm playing, I kind of block it all out. We're definitely going to hear them on Sunday. Is definitely going to be loud. I know the fans are going to have a lot of energy. We just have to match it and just, you know, go out there and be ready.
John and then Les.
Hey, Greg. I know it's early in the week, but with Baltimore on the schedule, and they have some pretty good corners, have you kind of looked at that and just how talented those guys are?
Yes, I have. I've watched them a little. Those guys do a great job. Very physical. Play very hard. And they have great talent over there on the defense. We just have to do what Eagles do, and we have to go out there and play Eagle ball and not worry about who we're playing. We have a faceless opponent, and we just have to control what we can.
Les and then Zach.
Hey, Greg. You have some help out there now with Travis Fulgham doing so well. Tell us something about him. Because of the situation we're in, we only see him virtually. We've never actually met him in person. What's he like? What, you have a good story about him and his ascension here with the Eagles?
That guy comes to work every single day. You know, doesn't take it for granted. And he's hardworking. Very explosive. Makes a lot of plays in practice, and you see that he did the same thing Sunday. Everybody knew that he can did it. Knew that he can do it, and he proved himself. It was just a matter of time when he got called up, and now he's just reaping the benefits of all the hard work that he put in.
Zach and then Ed.
As a follow-up to that, Greg, you had, I think, 16 transactions in your career before you were able to get a regular spot. I think Travis had 11 transactions. How many kind of practice squads or street free agents are there out there, you think, that just need that kind of opportunity before they're rotational players?
I definitely think there's a lot in the NFL that's going through the same thing that I myself and Trav went through. It's just a matter of time. You know, you never know whenever you're gonna get your opportunity. Sometimes when injuries happens, sometimes it's just when guys get traded or whatever it is. It just how it happens, man. And I know they're waiting, and whenever they do, I know they're gonna ball.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, Greg, just to ask you about Alshon and Deshaun. You know, we see them out there at practice, but what do they do behind the scenes to, help with the game plan, to help you, and Travis and, JJ and some of the others get ready on game day?
We stay in communication all the time. I always pick their brains. We always pick their brains as far as me and the younger receivers. We always try to stay on top of our game. And those guys have played a lot of ball, played it at a high level, are very known. And I believe it's very important for you to stay in communication with those guys, just to see what they see from just to get their point of view on a certain route or a certain play, even if the ball is not coming to you on this play, just to see how you can get better. And I think that's very good for us younger guys.
Do we have any more questions for Greg? Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, Greg, as a follow-up to what I was asking you about you and Travis, why do you think it is that there are players who slip through the cracks, for lack of a better term, and also what is it that the players who are able to make it thereafter have in common?
Sometimes just coming from certain colleges, you don't get the recognition, and whatever else situation it is, everybody have a different story. But um, the business side of it, we all know. Sometimes that get in the way, but just like I said, whenever you do get the opportunity, which you don't have many, when honestly you only need one. So whenever you get it, just run with it. And I think that's what our mindset is, and we're just taking advantage of it.
Just looks like the Eagles are going to have some fans this weekend. How excited are you for that prospect to have, at least some support, even though if it's 5,000-6,000 people? And do you expect anybody to come up from Australia, any family or friends to come in for the game?
Mate, I'm excited. Answer your first part of the question. I am super excited to finally play in front of fans. Being a starter, it's been a long dream of mine to play in front of a home crowd and be starting. So I'm extremely excited. As for the family, COVID restrictions will not be allowing any travel outside of Australia right now, especially for my parents' health. I think it's just easier for them to stay. I'd love them to be there, to be here for my first game with fans at home. But yeah, due to COVID-19 restrictions, I think it's just easier to stay at home and support from there.
Well, Paul and then Les.
Jordan, after watching the film, I was curious your thoughts on your first career start and also the opinion of the only man that matters, Stout, what he thought of your performance.
Stout's a tough man, and I owe everything to him. He's taught me a lot in the last 3 years. He's trusted me to perform when I need to. He's given me a chance, the opportunity. So, in saying that, Stout will always be straight up with you. There's good, there's bad, and there's the ugly. So, we went through that today, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're going to look forward to this week to correct it.
Les and then Bo.
Can we go just a little deeper into that, Jordan? How did you? It looked like you did real well with some. You had to move a lot in the run game and things like that. But what did he find that you really need to improve on this week?
Just my handwork again. Sticking guys, just getting my hand timing right, as well as being more physical in the run game. There's a couple of times where I got thrown off a block, and that'll go up against a good defense, like the Steelers. Things like that will happen. So it was a big learning curve this weekend on how to develop my game going on this season. So, things like that.
Also, you've got such an inexperienced group right now with Kelsey, the only guy that's a veteran in there. How do you guys handle that? As you can't all be asking him stuff all the time. Are you able to sort of lean on each other a little bit?
Oh, 100%. I think we're also in our playbook. We know the game plan. All it takes is just Kelsey to say one thing, and we know what to do. And if he doesn't, then we know check. We check at the line just to get everything really communicated. That's another thing we're going to work on this week. Now, communication can be much better than what it was the last game. So it's crazy that you said that. But all these guys are just filling in. Like, we've always had this mentality here, next man up mentality, and I feel like every guy that steps in is trying to do their best at that position.
Thank you.
Oh, and then John.
Jordan, you have talked before about how much you like hitting people, and you're such a happy-go-lucky guy. How do you flip that switch on game day?
I think about it's when I wake up. As soon as I wake up, I'm in game mode. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do in these kick protection and the pass protection and run game. I think about how I'm gonna do that technique execution. Always thinking about the execution. It's sort of easy. It didn't come straight away, just flicking the switch. I think it comes with being comfortable with the game plan and knowing your responsibility, knowing your job, and knowing the right technique to execute. So, yeah, trust me, the flitch, it didn't come easy. It was something that I had to work on, and it was something that I grew to become comfortable with, and now it's just like it's a switch. I can just click it on and off, and yeah, I mean, I owe it all to the experience that I've been getting.
John and then Jamie.
Hey, Jordan. We've kind of talked quite a bit about how much JP and Lane have helped you on this journey of yours. I'm curious, do you look around the league at other left tackles? And I bring that up because Baltimore this week and Ronnie Stanley is considered one of the best. Do you look at guys like that and see how they do the job?
Oh yeah, 100%. I watch film on Ronnie Stanley. I do rate him as a highly rated left tackle. So I do watch other people's films to see what techniques I can grab. I don't really try and imitate how they do it. I try and just see what similarities we have and the differences. Try and identify the differences in the technique that I'm doing and how they do it. And if it works for them, then I'll try and do it and see if it works for me. And if it doesn't, then I'll keep looking for a new answer.
Jamie and then Kristen.
Jordan, you brought the fans up a little bit, but like specifically, how much have you missed Eagles fans? I mean, clearly they make it for a hardcore home field advantage for you guys at the link. Like, how much have you missed their presence this season?
A lot. We could have used their help in the first two games. We miss these guys a lot. Fans are a big part of momentum and causing the third down distractions. So it's hopefully whatever number of fans that we have this weekend, they can still be rowdy as hell.
Kristen and then Zach.
Hey, Jordan, keeping it with the fans for a second, it seems like because the 7,500 number is going to also relate to like personnel, staff and whatnot, that maybe it'll be about the same amount of fans physically in the seats as you just saw this past week in Pittsburgh. How loud was that actually in that atmosphere? I mean, how much of a distraction, a momentum builder, how much could you actually hear from those 5,500 there?
For the most part, you could hear the cadences, but there were a couple times when like on third downs, it was getting pretty loud and rowdy. A couple times I was like, "There's no way 5,500 fans could cause this amount of noise," so it was kind of fishy. But it just shows how fans can influence a play and influence the situation, and I'm hoping that our fans can bring it.
He's right. Zach and then Chris.
Hey, Jordan, if you look at the way you've been able to step in these past 2 weeks, do you think you would have been able to do that a year ago?
What position, left or right? Because last year I was right tackle.
Yeah. Let's say left tackle a year ago.
That's a great question. I probably would have if they kept me at left, but I don't control how the dice rolls out, and I just do what I'm told and do what I can for this team. So if I had it my way and I had another year at left tackle last year, then yeah, maybe. But like I said, everything happens for a reason, and yeah.
We'll take two more here with Chris and Bo.
Hey, Jordan, Will Bryce from NFL UK said you still take the time to talk to people who are part of the international player program, and I see you're fond of them. What has brought you to go back to do that? And also to piggyback off that, you have Matt Leo's now part of that program. How has he adjusted so far to playing in the NFL? What have you seen?
I think Matt's doing a mighty fine job. He obviously had time at college, so he was able to adjust his time that he was here before the program and before his time in the NFL. He was able to learn all those intricacies and ins and outs of football. So going through community college and then going through a college like Iowa State, I feel like he's transitioning well. So the more time he can get, just like me, the more time that I spent on a professional team, the more I learned and gained experience from other players, watching film and just being around the environment.
Last question here with Bo.
Hey, Jordan, I mean, obviously you made a bet on yourself to come over and try to play football. Do you feel like you have sort of already proven that?
Mate, the coin's still flipping in the air. Can't tell you that one. Still flipping.